So today, I know some of you guys are in a situation where you're under lockdown and, you know, life is not what it used to be a month back. So I want to share something with you, just a concept that we all need to understand. And that is, firstly, most experts believe that our lockdown is not going to end in about 2 weeks' time. It's going to take a little bit longer. So the moment I say that, some of the guys are going, oh my goodness, because what's going to happen to your income stream? What's going to, you know, your job, your sanity to have to be locked down in one small space and everything else like that. So part of this session is to chat about my beliefs about what I'm experiencing at the moment and what can I do about it? Can I change it? Can I shift it? Can I make it better? Can I play with it? So I want to share with you guys a concept that I've been teaching now for a while, and I trust it's going to benefit most of you guys. And I call it the belief cycle. So I want to start off firstly and just talk about the word beliefs. So the moment I say the word beliefs, for most people, what comes to mind is, you know, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about God, what you believe about anything in life generally. And it's very often a spiritual type of belief that comes to mind. But I want you to stop and just linger on the word belief a little bit. Ask yourself a couple of questions now. What do you believe about yourself? Not say what do you believe about yourself. What do you believe about your own personal capabilities? What are you capable of? What skills, abilities, talents have you learned over the last couple of years of your life? Sorry, my speaker, some work with
Deon, your sound is breaking up terribly. I can't hear you. I don't know about anybody else. Just thumbs up if you can hear Deon properly, please. No. So, okay, we're getting thumbs down all the way through the room.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
That's better, thank you.
All right, there we go. All right, so
thumbs up, guys. Can you hear Deon better now?
Yeah, I'm getting yeses and everything else. Okay. All right, so I just, sometimes we need to shift with microphones. I've got too many mics connected and cameras on the system, so they get confused occasionally. All right, so let's stay with the belief. The moment we start talking about beliefs, I want you guys to ask an internal question to yourself. What do you believe about yourself as a person? Do you believe, you know, silly things? Do you believe when people look at you, they like you? Do you believe when you talk to people, they listen? Do you believe you have got talents and gifts that few people actually recognize? That maybe you believe you've got things that you can offer to this world that you're not even aware of at this moment. What do you actually believe about yourself? What do you believe about the people around you, your family members, your friends, your colleagues, the other people on this group at the moment? What do you believe about the country you live in? What do you believe about the economy? What do you believe about where coronavirus and lockdown is going to take us? All of these things are in your belief system. And the belief system is usually something that's stimulated from outside information. So we go on social media and we read something, we read stats about deaths and this happening and that happening, and we hear about all these, you know, controversial subjects, and all of that tends to shape our belief. And the reason it shapes your belief is because we allow our brains to have what I call an internal dialogue. So let's just show you guys how an internal dialogue works. I want all of you guys, wherever you're sitting at the moment, to absolutely out loud just to say my name. Now you can read my name on the screen, it's Deon Groenewald, but I want you just to say the first part, Deon. So I want to count to 3 and I want everybody just to say the word Deon quickly. So 1, 2, 3.
Deon.
Let's see your mouths moving, guys.
Deon.
Let's try it again. I want you to say it out loud using your mouth. This one. 1, 2, 3.
Deon.
There we go.
Deon.
Now,
Deon.
thank you. I'm going to do the same thing now, but this time around, I want you to say it softly inside of your own head. Are you right with that? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and you're going to say the word Deon, but you're going to say it inside of your own mind. But I want you to hear how you say it. So let's go 1, 2, 3. You just said it inside of your own brain. Now, let's play a game. Change your accent. I don't think there's someone in this platform at the moment that's got a very French accent. So I want you to say the word Deon, but with a very French accent. So it's going to come out something like Dijon, something really fancy. Are you guys ready for that?
Dijon.
All right. So yes, there we go. So say it inside of your head. 1, 2, 3. There you go. All right. Who heard yourself saying that word? Kind of strange, isn't it? I want you to understand something quickly. When you say things inside of your own brain, you actually hear yourself saying it. When you think, thinking and an internal dialogue is very much the same. And a lot of people think you've only got one personality. Well, actually, you've got a split personality inside of your own brain, because we have conversations with ourselves. When I said, say the word Deon in a French accent, Deon, some of you guys went and said it maybe even with a Scottish or with a traditional African accent, or you went, this guy's crazy. What is he doing, wanting us to say his name with a weird accent? You had this internal dialogue where you were saying things, hearing yourself, and even sometimes going into an argument with yourself. That's called internal dialogue, and it's a very natural thing that happens. But I want you guys to understand the following principle. Your internal dialogue is based on what you believe. Whatever new beliefs come into your brain, whatever strong beliefs you have inside of your brain, whatever beliefs your brain believes is the most prominent, is what stimulates your internal dialogue inside of your brain. Now, internal dialogue is a wonderful thing if it's a positive conversation. What if your internal dialogue, however, is a negative conversation? So your belief is, because of lockdown, you're going to be in financial troubles a month from now. End of April is going to be the real and the new refresher of the April Fool's Day, because every fool is not going to be able to pay their accounts. And that could be an internal dialogue that's going on inside your brain. So what's going to start consuming you? The results of that internal dialogue. Now, if the internal dialogue is based on fear and negative beliefs, what's going to consume you is an internal conversation all about the negative beliefs. So do you believe that you're going to more fear if that is what you're going to do? Yes. Because what you're doing is, if you feed the fear monster that lies in your belief system via your internal dialogue, it is as well as feeding it with actual energy and food. That's the best way to grow the negative belief system inside of your brain, is by feeding it with consistent internal dialogue. The second thing we need to realize is, the minute I have a lot of internal dialogues, I tend to make decisions based on that internal dialogue. So, Les, I'm going to use you as an example just in my explanation. So let's assume for a moment, Leslie has a belief that the lockdown is going to cripple her financially. It's going to isolate her socially, and she's not going to be able to cope socially over the next couple of weeks. What's going to happen? She's going to have an internal dialogue on those topics, right? The more internal dialogue she has, the more she feeds the fear, the more she feeds the negative belief. Now, the next phase is her decisions she's going to start making will be based on the internal dialogue. So if her internal dialogue is, I'm going to be in financial trouble, what type of decisions is she going to start making? She's going to start making decisions that are based on fear, not on a great hypothesis she's built, not based on a good planned strategy, not based on a long-term sustainable future. It's going to be based on a short-term emotional fear that came in from the outside, that she's entertained in an internal dialogue, fed and made that big fat monster of fear. And now the decisions start being made. I see that the sound is not again. My speaker is really giving me a challenge here.
Can hear you now though, Deon.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It says on my screen my speaker is not working, but clearly it is. So Leslie, if my sound goes, just go. I'll realize something's going on here. All right. So is everybody still with me? So let's just start from the beginning. I have beliefs. I go on social media, I see trouble's coming. I then go, oh my goodness, this is really bad trouble. Internal dialogue, oh my goodness, this is going to kill me financially. Oh my goodness, I'm going to go completely mad over the next couple of weeks because now I can't see my girlfriend, even though I've been married for 20 years. No, you shouldn't have that in the first place. Okay, so get over it. I'm not going to see my friends. I'm not going to be, I laugh at the people. I'm not going to get to the bottle store, buy cigarettes, or be able to do this or plot. Come on. Stop feeding the fears because you're constantly having this internal dialogue. Because now your decisions are going to be based on those. So let's go back to the example with Les. Leslie is now in a state of fear. She's saying, I'm not going to make enough money, so I now need to make new decisions. She starts making decisions based on that fear. Those are not good choices. We've all made bad decisions in our lives. We know exactly what a bad decision looks like. Correct? But here's the thing about making decisions. We always make decisions based on the emotional state we are in that moment. We make decisions based on the information that is going through our brains in that moment. 2020 decisions, hindsight decisions, looking back on decisions is always easy. But when we make a decision, they're usually in the moment. And it is the emotional state and the internal dialogue that stimulates that decision. So if I'm in a stress state, if I'm in a fear state, what type of decisions do I make? Bad ones. So there's a response because of that. Because now the second thing is, the moment Leslie starts making decisions, and sorry Leslie, I know you make great decisions, I'm just using your name. The moment Leslie now starts making decisions, she's now going to start acting out on those decisions. So the moment she's got an opportunity, short term maybe, where she can make some money, she might grab that opportunity, and it could be a bad decision. Now, I'm going to be really naughty here, and excuse me, you know me by now, I'm going to be naughty. So let's assume for a moment Leslie's stressing about her finances over the next couple of months. And she notices that there is a way of making short-term money, and that's by taking naked photos of herself and posting it online. Right. If she's, you're not even blushing when I say that, Leslie, come on. If she's in a negative, feeding fear state, if this internal dialogue has kept her mind so negative that she's not thinking, this emotion, this monster of fear is taking over. Okay, the sound's going again. It seems when I move my hands, my sound goes. It's just dropped.
Deon, you've just muted yourself. I've unmuted you now.
Okay, is the sound back?
Yep.
All right, lovely. So let's just get back to the scenario of Leslie taking nude photos and posting them on the internet, because I found it funny. Will that be a good decision? Leslie, you want to answer?
No.
No. As anybody here, if you think it's going to be a good decision, just do that. If you think it's going to be a bad decision, just, Michael, come on, you can't do that. Come on. That's not going to be a good decision. Really? Jeez, like, you know, some of you guys are just weird. So it's obviously not going to be a good decision, but where does that decision come from? Where did that behavior come from? How did you get to a point where she took a camera and she started posing and she started taking these photos? It came from an external belief that she cultivated through an internal dialogue that started creating her to make different types of decisions that eventually manifested in a behavior. Does that make sense, guys? So your belief system can alter your behavior. So do you want a positive style behavior, a behavior that's going to give you positive results? Absolutely. So how do you change it? Now, the most difficult thing for us, the most difficult thing is to switch a belief on or off. That's very difficult. Most people cannot do that. If I have a conversation with you, did you know that it is impossible for me to alter your belief? It's impossible. I cannot change your belief. No person can change someone else's belief unless you ask it in. But once it's inside of you it's very difficult for us as humans to shift our own belief. Now, who of you like to know how to shift that belief? Okay. You can book a private session with, no, I'm teasing. I'm going to explain it to you now. You can shift your belief in a very, very simplistic method. So the thing you want to do is step one. I'm going to give you all the steps. Step one, you need to write down your negative belief. Write it down on a piece of paper. Okay, so let's assume, and I'm going back to Les, the negative belief is financially I'm going to get into trouble. Write it down. Write down, financially I'm going to get into trouble. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, or we call it in coaching, we call it meta questions. You want to ask yourself a couple of questions around that belief. And the first question you want to ask yourself is, how does this belief serve me? How does this belief serve me? Now, here's a bit of a trick. You need to come up with a positive answer. Because let me explain something about the human brain. You're not going to entertain a belief if somehow inside of your brain you believe that it's not serving you. So if Leslie's going to think about the financial future in a month or two from now, the only reason she's thinking about it is because somehow it serves her. When you attach fear to it, it becomes a non-serving. If you remove the fear, there's something in there that's serving you. So if I take just the thought of finances, how does finance or a fear about my negative belief about finances, how does that serve me? Very simple answer. It serves me by planning properly. It could serve me by being more restrained in my spending. It can serve me to use money I have available to put into a very healthy investment. It can serve me in a variety of different ways. So what you want to do is you want to take that negative belief, flip it around, reframe it, and ask it, how do you serve me? But the trick is you want to write down 10 reasons, 10 ways it can serve you. Once you've got those 10, choose the 3 best ones. Don't write down 3 and then say, I'm taking a shortcut. I'm a smart guy. I don't need 10. I'm just going to take my 3. Write down 10. Once you've written down the 10, choose the 3 best ones. The ones that when you read them, you go, yeah, this I like. It'll talk to you. All right. Now, get those 3 into your internal dialogue. So what does that mean? So first you're going to ask, how does this belief serve me? You're going to put your 10 down. You're going to choose 3. So let's assume Leslie has done that. She's got a 10 and she chose 3. And one of the 3 is this financial situation is giving me the opportunity to find long-term sustainable ways of generating income. Okay, this is one of them. Now you insert that into your internal dialogue. How do you do that? Force yourself to think about it. And if you don't know how to do that, start saying it out loud. Say out loud, this is going to help me find great alternative sources of income. And then listen to your internal response. So what are you doing? You're starting to stimulate your brain to start thinking about the positive. Now, if I have 2 dogs, I own both, they're both at my house, but I only feed the one dog. What is going to happen with the dog I'm not feeding?
He's going to attack the other dog.
It's going to attack the other dog. Okay, let's assume I've got them separate. Okay, they're separated. They can't eat each other. They're in separate rooms. If I want to feed only the one dog, what's going to happen to the dog?
The other one will die.
There we go, the other one will die. If I take a positive internal dialogue and I install that into my brain and I feed the positive internal dialogue, do you know what's going to happen to the one I'm not feeding? It's going to starve. Did you know that you can't stop negative? My phone again. You're unmuted, so hopefully I'm back now again. And now my video is gone as well. That's lovely. Okay, am I back? Okay, cool.
Yes, you are, Deon.
All right, so where were we? Did you get the part, what's going to happen if I stop feeding the one dog? It's going to die, right? So the concept is you cannot stop internal dialogue. You cannot stop it. But you can replace it and feed a better internal dialogue. So if you've got a negative internal dialogue, don't try and stop it. Guys, the moment you give internal dialogue energy, you're feeding it. So if you've got a negative internal dialogue, don't feed it by thinking about it. This mic is really starting to...
I think if I keep waving my hands, you will be fine, because every time I wave my hands, then you come back again.
You've just cursed that, Leslie. It was working until you said that. Now it's
No?
No, he's fine.
All right, lovely. All right, I'm not sure exactly where I missed you guys. Leslie, what was the last part you guys could hear?
You're still talking about the starving of the one and not feeding.
Does that concept make sense to you guys? I mean, it is so simplistic, and yet we don't do it. You know, we got these negative thoughts going on in our brains. We feed them. Now, I shouldn't think about not doing that. Guys, that's feeding the thought. Stop feeding it. We stop feeding it by feeding something else. Install the positive thought, internal dialogue, and start feeding it. Now, what is going to happen if you start feeding the positive thought, the positive internal dialogue? You know what's going to happen? Your decisions are going to start changing. You're going to start noticing you starting to make different decisions. You're going to start noticing you're starting to make different decisions, and you're starting to behave according to these different decisions, which is going to be a better form of behavior. You know what's a really cool thing if you start behaving differently and better? It's going to start giving you feedback about life. You're going to have a different experience. You know what a great, better experience is going to do for you? It's going to feed your belief system. Did you get that? That's a beautiful cycle. My belief system feeds my internal dialogue. My internal dialogue feeds my thoughts, my decisions. My decisions feed my behavior. My behavior creates an experience. From any experience I have, I get feedback. I get a response. Feedback feeds my belief system.
Deon.
Yes, sir.
That was beautiful. If you may, please repeat it.
If I may, sorry, Jabulani?
If you may repeat it, that was a very great sequential.
Okay, you want me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
It.
The cycle, thoughts, decisions.
No, he said he wants me to repeat it. I'm just making a joke, Jabulani. It. Okay. All right. Your belief system feeds your internal dialogue, your thoughts. Your internal dialogue, your thoughts, feeds your decisions. Your decisions feeds your behavior. Your behavior creates an experience. When you act in a certain way, when you behave in a certain way, that is called an experience, right? That experience creates feedback. So if we walk down the street and you look at someone and you greet them in a nice way and they greet you back, that's an experience. And that experience creates feedback. The feedback you get is when I greet people nice, they greet me nice. That feeds back into your belief system that now strengthens the positive. When I greet people nice, I get reviewed. So let's make it practical with Leslie's scenario. So Leslie now goes and says, for me to create sustainable income, I need to plan something. So Leslie goes and she says, the way I'm going to do this is by creating online webinars where people can eventually pay me maybe one day if I'm big. She then has this dialogue. While she's having this internal dialogue, she comes up with ways of doing it, creative ideas around it, but possible variety of choices on how she's going to make it happen. Because this is all now happening in the internal dialogue. She now starts making decisions. Well, I'm going to install a platform called Zoom. I'm going to go into social media. I'm going to start inviting people, and I'm going to get a whole group of people together. Okay, I see hands waving, which means sound's gone again.
Okay.
No?
Okay.
Sound is good, Claudia? I think your sound went, eh? All right. So now she's got all these creative ideas on how she's going to do it. She now makes decisions. What are those decisions? I'm going to do this. I am. I will. I must. I'm going to. I'm busy. She acts on those decisions. So now she starts creating online platforms. She starts communicating with people the same way I'm communicating with you guys now. Guys, there's nothing different here. So while I'm communicating, while she's going to be communicating, what's going to happen? She's going to have an experience, an external experience. Are we having an experience now? Yes. I'm saying things, you guys are responding, we're sharing, and we're having a beautiful time here. So this is now giving feedback. What feedback? I mean, let's be honest. What feedback do you guys think I'm getting from this session? I'm getting feedback that you're learning something, that you're having a good time. I'm looking at your physical responses, your emotions, your interaction, and Michael doing a silly dance. And it's telling me, Michael, can someone mute his camera? No, I'm teasing. So, no, I'm teasing. Please dance, Michael. It's very, it's a great diversion. Oh, come on. Someone put his camera back on. Leslie, just get his camera back. We love seeing Michael dance. At least he's wearing clothes. That's fine. So here's the thing. I'm getting feedback from the session. We all getting feedback. There's smiles going. So what do you think this type of session is doing to my belief system? What is it saying? It's saying this works. This is good. I like this. I can take it further. This becomes sustainable. We can grow this. We can get individual sessions from these. There's a possibility here of starting to create potential outcome or income out of these things. So now it's feeding my belief system. As it's feeding my belief system, second cycle, what is starting to happen to my internal dialogue now? Now my internal dialogue is not only about potential creating, but how can I improve this? How can I take it another step even further? How can I make this magnificent? I start making decisions accordingly. I start now having a paid Zoom platform where I can invite more people, have longer sessions, have individual. Now the cycle is just, I'm getting feedback from that because I'm interacting, and that just keeps feeding my belief system. Does that make sense, guys? You need to understand one thing. When I said right in the beginning, I said we're going to talk about our belief systems. I want you to think about this. If I said to you, we're going to talk about your belief system, whose belief system were we talking about here the whole time? Your belief system, not mine, not anybody else on this group's, your belief system. Who's in charge, actually, of your belief system? Point. Me. Did you know that if you give that power away to external sources, if you give that power of your belief system away to social media, to news channels, to people that talk about things that don't know what they're talking about, you know the moment you give that away, you submit to them? Do you know the moment you submit to someone else, you actually become their slave? Are there any slaves in this room? The moment you allow your belief system to be fed, influenced, directed by external sources only, you're a slave to the external sources. Your life is then directed by external sources, not by your own control. you might as well give up hope, because you've now become a reactive human being and not a proactive human being. The moment you start taking control of your own internal dialogue, and through that process start influencing your own belief system about who you are, what's happening in the world around you, and what's going on in your true reality, you become the captain of your ship. You start paving the way for your own destiny. You are no longer a slave to someone else's path. Does it make sense to you guys? It's probably one of the most empowering concepts that I believe any human being can possess. The moment you realize you're the captain of your own ship, your belief system, it's yours. Do not make your ears a dustbin to other people's rubbish. Make your internal dialogue a goldmine to your own genius. Jabulani, you liked that one, didn't you? Don't make your ears a dustbin to other people's negative rubbish. Make your internal dialogue a goldmine to your own genius. Because if you take this cycle of beliefs and you repeat it over and over and over, do you know, it's like, we call it the snowball effect. It'll take you to levels where you've never realized or understood or even dreamt of where you can go to. How do you think people go from being mediocre to being phenomenal? They shift the belief system inside of their own brains. They alter their own internal dialogues. They start making decisions based on it. They act on it. It feeds back into their belief system, and that inspires them and gives them more courage to go to the next level, to go to the next level, to go to the next level, to go to the next level. Excellence in life as a human being a magnificent creature that inspires, uplifts, changes the world, is not something that happens overnight. It's a process of continuous shifts and development inside of yourself that allows you to get to a point in life where you are magnificent. No human being was born with a pattern of all the magnificent behavioral traits they have. All of them were learned through a process of allowing external things to come in, duplicating it, and taking it to different levels. But if you allow negative stuff from the outside to define who you are, you're a slave. You're a puppet. Take control of it, become the captain of your own ship, and be a master of your own destiny. It's as simple as that. I trust that makes sense. Is there any questions? Guys, if you've got questions, I want you to go to your chat section. You can ask private, but then it's going to go only to that person. But go to the open section and ask questions about this. I would love to interact and ask and answer some of your questions. So ask now. You work with crystal ball, Leslie. Leslie, do you work with a crystal ball?
That was my whole hand moving to get your sound right.
Ah, okay, got it.
The right hand still, the sound will be better.
Okay. I shall not move.
You can move your left hand, not your right hand.
What's this? That was an old message.
Who's sharing their screen here?
It ain't me.
No, somebody's sharing a screen. So, yeah, whoever's sharing your screen, please, thank you. Who's in charge, me or my unconscious?
All right.
Question from Jabulani.
Okay. I'm still trying to read this one. That was an old message. I'm not exactly sure what you meant by that was an old message. But okay.
The whole crystal ball thing was an old message.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't connect those dots, but anyway. But who's in charge, me or my unconscious? Both. So if you look at your conscious and you compare it to your unconscious, think about it this way. If you look at the size of your unconscious or the size of your brain, it's probably the size of about your two fists being held together. So which part of your brain is actually your conscious? Anybody got an idea? I'll give you the quick answer. It's about the size of a teaspoonful. So if you take a little bit of water and you throw it in a teaspoon, that amount of water, that's the volume of the brain capacity that your conscious uses inside of your brain. So it's very little. Your unconscious basically makes up for the rest. But your conscious mind, and I want you guys to look at it this way. Imagine for a moment you are on a ship and you're the captain of the ship, right? And there's an engine room, and inside of the engine room there's a lot of guys that, you know, they control the propeller, the rudders, the direction the ship's going. And as a captain, you shout to the engine room and you say, 5 degrees starboard. I don't know, I'm not even sure if it's left or right. I'm not sure what that means. It sounds impressive, starboard, but let's say 5 degrees left, okay? The guys in the engine room, can they see you? No, they can only hear you. They can't see what's ahead. They've got no idea what's going on the outside of you. But what they do is they merely respond and they start pulling the levers and everything else, and they make the ship turn 5 degrees to the left. So the guys in the engine room actually control the ship. Would you agree with that? They've got everything in their power to determine the speed, direction, and all of these things about the ship. But it's still the captain that tells them what to do. Your conscious brain is the captain of your ship. Your subconscious brain is your engine room. The subconscious brain wants to do what you instruct it, and it will always do what you instruct it. So if you're going to instruct your subconscious brain to go into stress, it will. If you instruct it, and you instruct it through internal dialogue, by the way, if you instruct it to have creative thoughts, it will. If you instruct it to think differently and think positive and think great things, it will. Port is left. Thanks, Scotty, our captain. Okay, how do we deal with that? How do we deal with what, Jawalani? Would you say affirmations? I am absolutely. Affirmations can absolutely feed your internal dialogue, your decisions, and your behavioral patterns. But you need to understand how to do an affirmation properly. So if you're standing, it's an old concept this, if you're standing in a field of thorns, the wrong affirmation is to close your eyes and saying, it's flowers, it's flowers, it's flowers, it's flowers. Okay? That's not. You're standing in a field of thorns. A wrong affirmation is a lie. A good affirmation is an empowering statement. So what is a good affirmation? I can change these thorns into beautiful flowers. I have the capability, I have the skill, I have the talents, I have the gifts, I have the strength, I have the energy, I have the knowledge, I have the spade, I have the fork, I have the energy, I have the time. I can turn this field of thorns into a beautiful garden that is filled with flowers that brings me joy, peace, and love and happiness in my life. That's a positive affirmation. So if you're going to do affirmations, do them the correct way. Don't lie to yourself. Guys, if you're butt ugly, don't go stand in front of a mirror and say, I'm pretty, I'm pretty, I'm pretty. Go stand in front of a mirror and say, I can use makeup. I can use makeup. I can use makeup. Be real when you do affirmations. Be truthful to self. Don't lie and don't be naive. Okay? Is your subconscious and your unconscious the same thing? Very often when we teach about the subconscious or the unconscious, we actually throw them into the same pot and we use the names for both, but they're not the same. There's a slight difference. The subconscious mind is quite the difficult part of the brain to define. The unconscious is the part of the brain that is responsible for your heartbeat, for your breathing, for the amount of blood around your veins, and everything else. That's what the unconscious do. Your unconscious brain is the one that when you drive your car, and you've been driving for many, many years, without thinking, it is your unconscious that changes the gears. So what is the subconscious then? The subconscious, see the subconscious as a mirror of the conscious with a few differences. The subconscious is genius. That's your genius part of the brain, by the way. Your most creative part of the brain is the subconscious, and you can tap into the subconscious by just going into a very calm, relaxed state. People that meditate, people that pray deeply, they tap into the subconscious part of the brain, and that's your creative. It's a beautiful state to go in, and you're actually a genius in that state. But your subconscious has got a little bit of a difference between the conscious and the subconscious. Subconscious doesn't differentiate time. There's no yesterday, today, tomorrow in the subconscious. Everything is now. Everything is now. When you watch a movie, the subconscious very often experiences the movie. In your conscious brain, if you watch a movie, that actor that's dying, you know that actor's going to pop up next week in a soapie. So there's no emotional attachment to it. But your subconscious brain cries. Subconscious brain cannot differentiate. It doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fake, what's now, what's then. It's got no comprehension of that. Everything is just now, and it is. And it's all true. So the subconscious mind, when you watch a movie, that's the part of your brain that gets emotionally attached. And that starts crying, get emotional, and everything else. And I know, the tough guys don't cry when they watch movies in front of other people. They cry in the back and they watch private scenes. Some of the tough guys even watch sound.
It's better. Again, see, I waved my hands and it became better.
Magic hands. You know what works? Many hands make sound work. So your subconscious mind is actually a beautiful, beautiful thing to have, but you need to understand how to use it to your benefit. Because your subconscious, if you direct it in the wrong direction, can become an enemy. If your guys in your engine room go on strike, good problem. So you need to take care of your subconscious mind. You need to know how to stimulate it, how to feed it, and how to develop it. Subconscious mind is very much based also on your neuron network inside of your brain. So if you're not stimulating your neuron network, you're actually depleting a lot of the functionalities in your subconscious mind. So if you want to have a subconscious mind, stimulate your neurons. How do you do that? Think about different things, do different activities. Do things like word puzzles, numeric puzzles, change the colors and the styles in your room, move your desk from one wall to another, paint the walls in the house if you have to, change the color of your hair, whatever the case may be. Stimulate. Any form of stimulation stimulates the neurons, and that's beautiful for any person's brain. Okay, let's see, is your subconscious, no? I'm now experiencing cognitive, yeah. As I said, there's always a joke, but yeah, good humor. Any other questions, guys? Come on, this is your platform. We've got 15 minutes left, and I'm going to entertain you here. So let's utilize this time and learn. Because you've got a question that you're thinking of at the moment. You might think this is not the greatest question, but you know what? Someone else is thinking the same thing, and they want to hear it. So put your question out there, and let's hear those questions. Let's play and teach and learn. And if I haven't got the answer, don't worry, I'll just lie.
Deon, I just want to say thank you. I have to go to a meeting that was previously scheduled at 3.
Yeah, I know.
How often are we going to have these meetings?
I'm going to try, and my goal is, during lockdown, to see how often can we have them. Every 2 days. Why not? And let's have them as often as possible. I am going to record these, and they are being recorded, and I'm also then just going to edit them out. I don't want people to see how you dance. So I'll edit some of the stuff out and make it a shorter version of this, and I'm going to upload these to our YouTube channel. So if you need to, if you want to find it, Action Factory's YouTube channel, that's going to be on there.
Thank you.
So don't worry, I'll edit your stuff out, so nobody's going to look at you. I'll put in images and make it proper.
Yeah, gorillas, naked pictures of Leslie.
Yeah. We'll upload some pictures of Leslie, and so. All right, great value. Thank you, June. What is the name of the channel of the YouTube channel? It's Action Factory. So my brand is Action Factory. It's Action Factory. If you're not sure where to find it, you can go into actionfactory.co.za or go into our WhatsApp group, and I'll post a link on there, and you'll be able to find it there. All right, guys. So if there's no more questions, then I'm sort of going to land this plane. But before I land it, I'm going to give 3 people if there's two on here that's already got video on. So firstly, Leslie, I want to give you the first opportunity. Do you want to sort of mention something, grab something, bring something together for the guys as a summary?
Sure. I think the hardest part is identifying what the limiting belief is.
Okay.
So the way to identify what that is when you feel a shift in your emotional state,
Yeah.
immediately stop and think, what have I just thought about?
If it's a negative.
My daughter's just sent me a message. She's just received something and she's gone into a complete panic.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the message? What is the thinking that's going around it? And that is where you'll find the limiting belief.
I just saw one of the messages coming through now, and I think it's a great time to add that in. And thank you for that reminder. What about gratitude? Guys, gratitude is, gratitude is the steroid for positive thinking. Gratitude is the fertile ground for stimulating your endorphins and all the positive chemicals inside of your brain. I did a whole chat about it on the YouTube channel, actually, just to give you guys a little bit of quick background. I've got a growth inside of my brain that actually right in the center of the brain, and it pushes against the part of my brain that is responsible to produce endorphins and all the positive chemicals and serotonin.
Right hand still.
Sorry?
Keep your right hand still.
Okay. Because my right hand changes my mic. Ooh. Oh, it's because it comes between me and the mic. That's why. All right. So I've got a thing in my brain that, prevents my brain naturally from creating endorphins and all the positive, happy chemicals. So for me to be able to overcome it and not be in a state of permanent depression, I had to get my brain to start producing happy chemicals. And guess what I did? Gratitude. Understanding gratitude is probably one of the most profound things you can do for your brain. Gratitude immediately stimulates all the good chemicals in your brain and puts you in a better state. It becomes more sustainable, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's fun, Positive chemicals that your brain produces are the best drugs you could ever use. So why not stimulate more? Why not produce more inside of your own brain? And produce more endorphins, serotonins. Why not? It's great. Makes us happy. As long as it's natural. Don't go to the chemical versions of it, Do it yourself. Gratitude is the steroid, the fertile ground for it. I'm now going to pick on something. Leslie, thank you. I want to. Would you mind do me a favor, Les, as you are the sort of person with the control? Can you open up two videos for me? I want Willem and Patrick, if both of you guys are still on here, can you go live on your camera and open your sound, please? Willem Buitendag. Can you please go live as well? All right.
Here I am.
All right. How's it? Patrick?
How are you doing?
All right, my friend. Patrick, do you want to add something? Or in fact, I want you to add something or take something together or bring out a point that's relevant like Les did.
Sure. It's difficult to come up with something additional because you've covered so much here. Okay. But
what stood out for you that you maybe want to repeat to the guys?
Well, I think that what really stands out for me in this discussion is the whole concept of what you're feeding is what's going to grow.
Okay, good.
You've used the analogy before between weeds and flowers.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of the weeds. You can't literally say, okay, the weeds are gone and I'm going to plant flowers. But what you can do is you can stop feeding those weeds and you can rather put the flower seeds into the fertile ground.
There we go.
And that is what's most profound for me in your talk today, is that whole concept of feeding the positive rather than the negative. Okay. And not trying to kill the negative, but rather trying to
just stop feeding it. Just stop feeding it. Feed something else.
Exactly.
I want one more. I wanted Willem, but I see he's not on here. I'm going to pick on some. I like picking on guys, and getting you guys to talk on public platforms, because you need to realize how amazing you are. So I'm going to pick on someone else because I don't see Willem's camera coming on. Anthea, hello, my dear.
I knew you were going to do that, Deon. I knew it.
Right. That means you prepped.
I did. This thing you said, my belief feeds my internal dialogue, that circle, internal dialogue, decisions, behavior, that I think that hit home for me. And that's one of your bombs. Remember I told you, you drop these bombs and you speak so quickly and we sitting there going, what? That was one of your bombs. Thank you. I love that.
I hope those bombs are good.
They're good.
All right. Okay, I see Willem is here now as well. Okay, Willem, I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your take out of this? What's it? Aha, for you.
Yeah, Deon, I think something that touched me, and I spoke about it to someone else also a while ago, is we act in line with what we expect. And
Yep.
I'll take the example of you going and wanting to win the lotto. There's a possibility that you can win the lotto, but because you expect that you'll never win the lotto, you're not even going to take the chance to go and buy a ticket. And the same with our beliefs. Our internal beliefs are mostly fixed because we've just accepted them and they become what we expect. And if we're not going to do the necessary introspection,
Yep.
and actually sit down, write down, make it practical and visible, and start thinking about it and talking through it and working through it, it will not change. And only you or me, yourself,
Yeah.
can change those things.
Correct. Absolute. Love it. Love it. Thank you, Willem. I'm going to pick on one last guy because he typed something here. Jock to Blanche. Can your camera go on and sound on? Don't worry. I see some of you guys want to say something. Trust me, we're going to run these things a few times. You're all going to get an opportunity. I'm going to pick on you without you expecting it. Is Jock on? Let's get in.
I have asked him to start his camera and I've unmuted him. Jacques, can you talk to us anyway, even if your camera's not on?
All right, while we're waiting for Jock, I am actually going to pick on another guy, Jabulani. I see you comfortable there, but I want to know that wisdom. Just listen to this voice, guys. Just listen to this voice.
Thank you so much, Deon. I think one thing for me is there's always a positive intention why one or I would hold down a belief system. Now, it may be still working for me, even though it is an unresourceful belief system.
Yes.
For the people around me. For the people around me at that moment in time, it is not resourceful for them. But for me, it is a resourceful, and there's a positive intention why I'm still doing it. As a statement and as a question, the question would then be, how do I deal, or how does one deal with that particular situation? A positive intention I have on a belief system that is still working for me, but the people around me at that moment in time, I'm talking in particular, we're looking at the lockdown now. A lot of families are going through this, and hence the ups and downs of emotions and
Yes.
and all sorts of things.
Okay.
So that's my addition, and that's my question as well.
All right. So what you actually made one statement, and I just want you to understand quickly what you said. If I heard you correctly. So you said you might have an internal belief system and it serves you.
Yeah.
But it's
Yes.
not serving the people around you.
Yes.
All right. Now here's the thing. The fact that you believe that it's not serving the people around you is a belief system.
Mm.
And the fact that you believe it's not serving those around you is a belief system that's not serving you.
Mm.
Yep, you got that?
No. You're elevating it to the next level now.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. You see, that's a limiting belief. That's a belief that's showing some kind of a negative. So what are the alternatives? How is that serving you? And I can tell you how that's serving you. It's serving you because it's stimulating inside of you a desire, an unction, a need to want to be the leader, to want to be that positive catalyst, to want to be that inspirational person to those around you. So the question is, how are you going to do that? Got it? That was a brilliant example, by the way. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, dear.
Okay. Is anybody else here? Is there anybody that wants to just say something? I'm going to give one last person a go. Anybody?
Deon,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
you answer that question of Jacques? He's saying that he needs to fix his camera and his Windows is a bit broken. That working on your values, that's one of the concepts I got here on this workshop, or what are my beliefs and how to feed it in more positive ways. So how does values feed into all of this?
All right, we need to understand that that values and beliefs are not the same thing. And there's two schools of thoughts here, and it's quite strange because I often get into these conversations of what's the difference between a value and what's the difference between a value and a belief. And the one group of people say my values feed my beliefs, and the other group says my beliefs feed my values. I personally believe that both are actually very, very true. But what we need to realize is that my beliefs can change in a second. My values take a little bit longer to shift. We don't always hold on to the same values. When I was 15, I had certain values in my life that was important to me. A lot of those values, I don't even remember them anymore, and they're not important to me anymore. My values have changed. As our values change through the seasons of life, it will alter our belief system. So let's get practical. When I was a teenager, one of my values was to be cool, to be funky. And I had a belief to uphold that value, I had to dress in a certain way. And the way I dressed was a punk dress style. So yes, I had, when I was a teenager, one stage, I had the mohawk. I used to wear overalls. I had earrings in. I had things on my lips and my nose, and they were all connected with chains. When it rained, I rusted. I wore, the weirdest clothing because that was a belief that I had that this clothes will feed my value. Fortunately for the rest of the world, that value has changed. So because of the value not being the same anymore, that belief system is not sustained. And that belief system has now died a natural death. But in some cases, we very often hold on to values that served us when we were young. So let me give you another one. My father was a surgeon, and when we grew up, from a value system, my father believed that the only respectable job was being a surgeon, not a doctor, not a GP. That wasn't good enough. You had to be a surgeon. So all of our kids obviously had to go and study medicine, and I was the only one that was a rebel. I didn't. But for many years, even though I achieved my life, because of the value that was installed by my dad, my belief system told me I'm not successful. Even though I was successful, because I wasn't a surgeon, the belief was I'm not successful. So the only time I could break that belief was to understand the internal dialogue, put it back to one of my values, which I call a false value, shift the value, and the belief system came right naturally. So that's obviously I almost want to say a lesson for another 2-hour session. But a great question, Leslie. Thank you. Whoever typed it. Is there one more? All right.
No, just a lot of thank yous coming through from the participants as they're having to leave.
All right. Guys, we're going to keep the WhatsApp group. Obviously, when there's another session, I'm going to post the stuff on there. The idea is to have a different topic on every single session. Some overlap it a little bit, but here's the warning I want to give all of you guys. If I see your face on the next session again, there's a strong probability I'm going to put you on the spot and get you to talk as well. This is not just one guy's session. This is our sessions, and I want to get you guys to start sharing some of your ideas as well. We need it. So be well, be blessed. Thank you for your time. I know the session was said, it's free. I'm going to give you a quick secret. It wasn't. You pay for it by giving us your time. Your time is valuable. I thank you for that. I'm very, very grateful for your time. And we'll see you on these sessions soon. Be blessed.
Thank you. Thank you so much.